Hey friends, Ash here with Gents, coming at you guys today with my top 10 niche fragrances for summer of 2020. I've already done the designer edition, did that about a week and a half or so ago, so if you haven't checked that one out, make sure to do so. In general, summertime fragrances, not really my favorite. I usually gravitate more toward fall and wintertime fragrances for the most part, with some exceptions. I generally like those fragrances that are a little bit deeper, richer, more resins, more sweetness, things along those lines. All 10 of these fragrances I have here today are super solid. I love each one of these, so let's jump into this and check out my top 10 summer fragrances niche edition. All right guys, let's jump right into this. Number 10 from the house of OTT Leaf Do Poet. And this is a fragrance that I think I first saw on Red Essence's channel, Steven at Red Essence, years ago. And that's when I picked this one up. And it is a fragrance that I like immensely. This one is very green and citric. So there's angelica, there's cypress, there's vetiver, there's basil in here. Those are gonna contribute a little bit to the green facets in this fragrance. And then citrus wise, you've got bitter orange and grapefruit. And it does have this really pleasing bitter sort of edge that kind of contrasts with some of the sweetness from the fruits in the fragrance here. Yeah, I just absolutely love this one. And really, maybe I placed it too low on the list because this is one that's kind of a guilty pleasure of mine. It's not necessarily hyper complex, but it is very, very pleasing. And this fragrance is an eau de toilette, so not a monstrous performer, but really most of these I'm going to talk about here today are not. And that's one of the drawbacks in general for warm weather fragrances. Typically they don't have as much performance. This one though, fantastic smelling. I love the little herbal green facet, the bitter citrus in here, and then the cypress and vetiver giving a nice woodsy backbone. It's gonna take me to number 9. This one is from the independent house of Imaginary Authors, which is one of my favorite houses. I've talked about them a number of times. They sit right over my shoulder back here. And this one is Saint Julep. Notes are on the back here, as with all Imaginary Authors fragrances. This one has sweet mint, tangerine, southern magnolia, bourbon, grisalva, sugar cube, and crushed ice. The big drawback with this fragrance is the performance. It is not good. There's no real way to sugarcoat that. This one does not have good performance, both with longevity and projection. Doesn't project very far, it doesn't last very long. While it's on your skin though, very refreshing, uplifting, sweet, extremely alluring, smells awesome. Saint Julep, kind of based off of a mint julep alcoholic drink a little bit, so that's where you're gonna get your mint, your sugar cube, your crushed ice in this fragrance, and that does come through. Very nice citrus with mint sweetened up. I just wish it lasted longer because it is very fleeting. It's the kind of fragrance that you spray on just to feel refreshed, energized, and to enjoy for 30 minutes or so. Next up from the house of Aqua de Parma, it is Razia di Capri, and this is one of my favorite fragrances in the Blue Mediterraneo line. This one has orange, petitgrain, lemon, bergamot, and caramel as some of the notes. Yeah, caramel kind of sticks out there a little bit. So orange is going to be the main thing that you get from this fragrance, a good amount of orange. Actually, when you first smell this, big citrus blast with that orange right on top. It's like the king of this fragrance. Got a little bit of petitgrain in there, so it's gonna give you a slight green touch, the caramel, a little bit of sweetness as it dries down, a little warmth in the fragrance. But this one for me, all about the opening, all about that orange, and I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite orange notes across all of fragrance. There's another fragrance that's very well known for its orange note, which is Orange Sanguine by Atelier Cologne. That one also very solid, very realistic. This one though, I seem to wear more than Orange Sanguine. I gravitate toward this one a little bit more in high heat situations. Again, the performance on this, not great. Kind of a recurring theme with a lot of these. But that opening, so enticing, refreshing, lively, juicy, bright, really does it for me. Love this one. Number 7, a fragrance from the house of Bond number 9. And this one does have good performance. So this is the first one out of this bunch that I would say has above average performance. And it's this one, Bond number 9.com. I've talked about this one a little bit here recently on the channel. This one smells similar to Creed Aventus. It's really undeniable. You can just smell it from the atomizer and you can tell right away, oh yeah, Creed Aventus. A little bit of that DNA is in here. It's got pineapple, apple, juniper, bergamot, musk, and black currant. So you're gonna notice there a lot of shared notes with Creed Aventus, most prominently the black currant, the pineapple, the apple, and bergamot. This one does differentiate itself a bit from Creed Aventus as it dries down, but in the opening of the fragrance, it's gonna remind you a lot of Creed Aventus, more specifically, a very fruity take on Creed Aventus. Creed Aventus, as most of you out there are aware, can come either with a fruitier batch where it's going to be more pineapple heavy or a little birch heavy and going to be a bit smokier. And sometimes you can find a nice balanced batch that's somewhere in between. This one is more like Bond No. 9's take on a very fruity batch of Creed Aventus. As it dries down, you get a nice musk in this scent, and as I said, it does differentiate itself from Aventus as it dries down while retaining a good amount of that fruity sweetness off the top. That fragrance, very easy to wear, very versatile, big compliment puller, big attention grabber, and great performance. And thankfully now you can find bondnumber9.com at discounters. When I bought it, it was not available at discounters yet, so I paid full retail. So at number 7, we've got bondnumber9.com. Number 6 is a fragrance from the house of Maison Francis Kurkdjian, and the fragrance is Aqua Universalis. This one has lemon, bergamot, musk, orange blossom, and lily of the valley as some of the notes in the scent, and this is a very soapy, fresh, clean kind of fragrance. Off my skin, very soapy, and that's going to be mainly coming from that lily of the valley, kind of a white floral soapiness to an extent. And this one is very unisex as well. Women can wear this just as easily as men, though I don't find it difficult to wear myself. The citrus in this fragrance and the orange blossom and the musk kind of support the lily of the valley, which is the main note that you're going to get from this scent. In high heat, this one is a stunner. And this is also one that you could wear easily to the office. This is the kind of fragrance that you wear really with like a white linen shirt and some nice slacks, something like that. It's something that really just completes your outfit if you're trying to look put together, and again, very clean. Performance on this one is okay. It's better than some of the ones that I've mentioned here, but not beastly. Number 6, Maison Francis Kurkdjian, Aqua Universalis. It's gonna take me to number 5, a fragrance from Olfactive Studio. This one, for my personal taste, just smells awesome, and it is Still Life. There's also a flanker to this called Still Life in Rio, and that one also very good. Some of the things that make this a little bit different as far as summertime fragrances go is this has a little more depth, a little more oomph to it. It's got a little more richness to it. This has rum as one of the notes, as well as elemi. There's also galbanum in here, along with pink pepper and yuzu. So a lot of those notes are not notes that you would associate with warm weather fragrances. They're more something you would expect to see in a deep resinous sort of fragrance for fall or winter time. But it does work here. It works very well. The yuzu in this fragrance is going to give you a nice bitter citrus that's also sweet at the same time. You've got a nice pop of spice from that pink pepper. And then the rum gives it a little bit of booziness while you have these thicker sweet notes underneath. So this one has used both as a daytime and nighttime fragrance. You've got that citrus in there, you have that freshness, but then at the same time as it dries down, you've got a little more richness, a little more oomph to it. And this fragrance also has changed color over time. This is not the color that it was originally when I got the fragrance, but still smells the exact same. And actually I've noticed that with a couple of Olfactive Studio fragrances, a little bit of change in coloration, but the scents are the exact same as they were the day I got them. This one is a killer. For me, it's a fragrance that's slept on a little bit for warm weather, Still Life. It's gonna take me to number 4, and this one is from Tom Ford. So a little bit of a disclaimer. Some people are gonna consider this a designer fragrance, and I completely understand where you're coming from because it is a Tom Ford fragrance. Tom Ford is a designer, so if you are the type of person that lumps any designer's fragrance, regardless of whether it's from their private line or not, as a designer, then this is going to be a designer for you. Other people, though, view a designer's private line more as a niche fragrance. For example, Dior's private line, or Chanel's, or Tom Ford's, or whoever's. And for the sake of this list, That's how I'm viewing this fragrance. So I wanted to throw that out there. I know that for some of you, this is going to be considered a designer fragrance, but for the sake of this list, I'm including it with the niche fragrances because it fits in more with the niche side of things than it does the designer side of things. And the fragrance is this one, Mandarino di Amalfi Aqua. This one has a whole bunch of citrus in it. So it's got orange, lemon, bergamot, and grapefruit in here, along with orange blossom and a touch of mint. So that's going to really let you know right away what kind of fragrance this is. This one is heavily concentrated on citrus, but it does have a bit of a white floral backbone. So that's going to make it come across as more of a soft citrus instead of a really bright, rindy, or juicy citrus. So this one comes off as a very almost pillowy citrus, the way that it hits you. It's not really sharp, it's not bitter, just very soft. Extremely easy to wear, and kind of like Aqua Universalis before it, the type of fragrance that I think would work really well in a linen shirt or just a plain white shirt, something very clean and simple. That's what this is. And Mandarino di Amalfi Aqua, slightly more affordable than the original Mandarino di Amalfi, and maybe even a little bit easier to wear. Gonna take me to number 3 from the house of Sarov Neo. This one is one that I fell in love with the first time I smelled it. It smells awesome, extremely high quality. Green notes, vetiver, and cardamom, but that's not what's most important here. It's the bergamot and neroli that really grabs your attention here. So you have fresh, clean, white florals giving you a citrus touch. The bergamot here, green and juicy and vibrant and lively. As it dries down, you've got a little bit of sexy spiciness in there and a nice little bit of woods in the background. As far as extremely high quality summertime fragrances go, this one is right toward the absolute top of the list. This one is one that will probably always be in my summer rotation. Clean, sweet, attention grabbing, and again, as I said a number of times, just extremely high quality. That's gonna take me to number 2. This one is almost like a top of the line blue fragrance, so you probably already know what it is. Elysium by Razia Parfums. Black currant, juniper, ambergris, lemon, vetiver, grapefruit, some of the notes in this fragrance. This one, it's a blue fragrance. Extremely versatile, people pleasing, compliment pulling, you know the drill. It's got good performance, it's gonna last you pretty much most of the day. And this one, for some people, is like you took a number of other very popular fragrances and kind of combined them together with a little touch of that Razia magic. So like a little bit of Bleu de Chanel, maybe a little tiny touch of Creed's Aventus, and a number of other things that have been on the market. But this one is undeniably a classy, easy to wear summertime fragrance that has the performance to get the job done. I cannot bring myself to hate on this fragrance at all. Some people do, they'll be like, oh, it's so boring. But for me, just so versatile, so easy to wear, such a nice fragrance to have, just as a dumb reach sort of scent where any situation you're going out, and I've said this a number of times, you can grab this, spray this on, you're good to go. Formal, to the office, casually, daytime, nighttime, whatever, this can do it. And that's gonna take me to number 1 for this year. It is a classic fragrance, one that I really love from the house of Creed, Elysium Imperial. I'll go ahead and spray this one on too. Ooh. And I said this in a recent video, but Creed needs to bring these atomizers back. These fire hose atomizers, these old school ones that really just, yeah, just tons of fragrance. Bring it back. This has citrus, iris, sea notes, sea salt, fruity notes. What a lot of people will say they get from this is like a salted watermelon. So sort of a salted watermelon note. It does have a bit of a classic touch, so it does smell a little bit old school, but at the same time, not at all dated. Very easy to pull off. And as far as true daytime summer fragrances go, this one is one that I think would be easy to dress up with, like in a formal occasion, more so than probably 95% of other fragrances out there. Performance is all right. It's not too bad. Not amazing, but definitely gets the job done. As I said, definitely more of a daytime fragrance than a nighttime fragrance, but this one to me is just fantastic. I know a lot of people love Virgin Island water and say Virgin Island water is the best summertime Creed fragrance, and some people will say Arolfa is the best summertime Creed fragrance. For me though, it's this one. Now that being said, don't get upset. I love those other 2 Creed fragrances as well. It's just this one really smells awesome. And that one is gonna wrap this list up. All right, guys, that does it for me for my top 10 niche fragrances summer 2020. Let me know in the comments below some of the fragrance that you guys are wearing this year. As always, thanks for stopping in. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for all your support. Stay safe out there. See you guys tomorrow with another fragrance video.